Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, I wasn't shaking my fist at you. It was at him. You're fine. For now.
So my question is, I guess, open for anybody. If you guys could kind of walk us through what the production process is like, because we're assuming that the shooting schedule is all over the place. So how is it kind of moving from episode to episode, going back and forth?
You shoot out of sequence, I presume, right? Everything's shot.
We do, yeah. We shoot it as if it's a 10-hour movie. So we sometimes last year we shot scenes from the 10th episode in the first week, and we shoot in 3 different countries this year, in Ireland, Spain, and Croatia. 5 different directors shooting 2 episodes each, and the actors have to kind of travel all over the place. So it's in the way it's called cross-boarding, which is just an expression meaning that, you know, basically wherever is the best time for a scene to shoot, it's going to shoot, and 2 separate units, the dragon unit, the wolf unit. This is really boring stuff, I'm sorry.
Well, no, I mean, I think it's a valid question in the sense that, I mean, if you look at the actors who are playing characters who are now deceased in the series, did you shoot your death scenes in sequence? Did you have to come back and shoot, you know, other scenes after you had been, had your head squeezed and your eyes popped out, for example?
My very first day on set was the cell scene with Tyrion. It was the, you know, my big scene.
Yeah.
And I was petrified. Thanks a lot, David. It was my first day on set. It was my first day in full costume, and I don't know how the hell I got through it, to be honest with you. It was pretty nerve-wracking, but Peter made it really easy, and Alec, the director, took care of me. But it was totally, and from that point, I mean, it sort of like was diving in right at the gate, and that was my intro into the season. And then we were all over the place. The fight sequence came a little towards the end.
So that helped a little bit.
Yeah.
What about you, Rory and Rose? Was that your story as well?
Well, I was lucky. I think my last days were like the last days of woof, woof, woof.
There's a child.
I know exactly what that dog said. That's an unusual thing. Normally it's all higgledy-piggledy, but the fight and the death was, that was at the end. Luckily I'm working with Maisie, and she knew what was going on, because I get very confused.
What about you, Rose? Was that your story? Did you shoot the death scene towards the end of the shoot? Yeah?
Yes, like scheduling and production were very lovely in that respect, because they, my final day ever on the show was was the scene when I died in Kit's arms. And so luckily, having shot that, I didn't then have to, you know, turn up in 2 days' time and be like, hi, I'm back. So that was my final day, and then that was it.
Yeah, yes.
Since most serious questions have been asked, I wanted to ask Gwendolyn, what was it like to bite the hound's ear off? And so Rory doesn't feel left out. What was it like to downstairs kick Brienne?
Downstairs kick? That's just the sort of language we will not tolerate here, sir.
What was it like, Rory?
Yeah.
It was really good fun. I've never done it before, always wanted to. But here's a little secret. Did we do that? I think the idea was to put a strap in between your knees, so when you were crawling in that one move, I could take a right good run at it, but we would still keep it safe.
We didn't do that though, did we?
Well, actually, no, we didn't.
So what did you do?
Oh, it was. Remember you when she punched me. There was connections going on there between the legs. And
Best moment of my life.
when she bit my ear,
Second best moment.
well, it kind of tickled, to be honest. She said, "Get off me."
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Hi.
My name is Jason.
Good for you.
Alright, so I recently read an article in Harrington said that he wanted to see more male nudity in the show. So first of all, what are you going to do about that? And second, what does everyone else think?
What was second? Because I'm going to go.
What does everyone else think? If we can throw it open for general discussion to the panel, would we like to see more male nudity on the show?
Equality.
I'm very aware that anything I say right now is being listened to by the man at that end of the table. So I'm going to shut up and not say a thing, so I don't have to get my kit off next season too fully. Exactly.
You see, you can't really lose with me because it's no. Be careful what you wish for. Oh, please. I refuse to bow down to public pressure. The good thing about me and male nudity is that everybody is served because it'll still get the boob count up. Everybody wins. How's about that then?
I hope that answers your question sufficiently. Yes, madam.
Hi, I want to ask the whole cast, dragons or direwolves?
Let's begin at the very end with you then, John. Let's start with you. That's dragons or direwolves?
I'm gonna have to be loyal to my storyline, be loyal to my compadre and say direwolves, of course.
Same for you.
I am going to disagree and go for dragons.
What?
Yeah.
I'm shocked. Kit?
Direwolves,
of course. Sophie?
Direwolves. Dragons are dangerous now.
Natalie?
Direwolves.
George, you have a favourite?
Pass.
Direwolves.
Direwolves. Easier to kill.
Snakes.
Gentlemen, do you have a favourite? No? Don't play favourites? Fair enough. Alright, there you are.
I hear that the dragons are easier to work with, right?
Yeah, they do what you tell them.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I see what you mean, yeah. But no, well, never mind. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Howdy. Quick question. So, obviously the book and the show don't always go hand in hand, but there was a major character reveal that sort of happens at the end of book 3. And I was just wondering... Can't talk about that. Can't talk about it?
Blatant violation of the rules.
Get out. Get out. We obviously can't help you with that. I couldn't believe you did that. Somebody nip down there and stab him, would you? Yeah, right. Yes, hello, hi.
Hi.
What are you doing?
Really not.
What are you doing with that thing there? Oh, it's you got the wrong panel.
Well, I do what I can.
Right.
Anyway, one, you guys are all amazing, and thank you for sitting here and answering inane questions from us all day. But my question is for Sophie. Because I feel like Sansa Stark gets a lot of crap that she does not deserve. Sansa is badass and awesome, and I've been annoying my roommates all weekend, like Team Sansa and all over the place. So I was just wondering if you could talk a little bit how you came to envision her journey from where she started to where she ended up at the end of this season, which was just amazing. And I think even, I'm sorry for saying this, George, a little bit of a step up from...
Oh, wow.
And when you're stopping the other guy, stop her as well.
I never really, like, when I was like 13, I didn't really think, okay, this is the way my character's gonna go, she's gonna end up with Maleficent, and it's gonna be great. But when I started, yeah, I didn't have a plan for her. I just kind of, it sounds really gross and pretentious, but I kind of grew with her as an actress while she grew as a character. And then, I mean, it's really down to the writing of both George and, you know, David, Dan, Brian Cogman, Vanessa. And when I got the script through for season 4, it was like, it was such a relief, because for the past like 3 seasons, she's been deceiving with the facade of her former self for so long. And it was such a relief for me to finally be able to like shed the skin and become this somewhat manipulator that she actually is, from being, you know, at court with Cersei and Tywin, and she finally gets to reveal herself. It was freaking awesome.
Yes, young lady.
My question is for George. Everyone's asked about how the fight between Brienne and the Hound felt for the characters and the actors, but how did that separation from the book feel for you?
Well, it was a great scene. You know, David and Dan have and the other writers, Brian Cogman was mentioned, he deserves a lot of credit too, have added some scenes that are not in the book. In part because there are no viewpoint characters present in every season that I've loved. The first season, the scene between Robert and Cersei where they discuss their marriage, not in the books, but a terrific scene. Second season, in the Blackwater episode, the wonderful scene in Bronn confronts the Hound in the brothel, terrific scene. And I put the battle in the same category. It was just great television, and it was terrific to watch. You know, the things I mourn are for the most part the scenes that didn't make it. You know, I've been pretty open since before season 1. I wish we had 3 more episodes a season. It would, of course, kill David and Dan, I realize that, but, you know, it would give us parity with some other HBO shows and enable us to include some of the stuff that gets cut. But some of the stuff that gets added, particularly when it's as great as that scene, I love it.
Can I ask you all a question while we're here? Because there's been a lot of questions for George, obviously, about the separation of the books and the series. How many of you, perhaps by applause, have read the books? Let's go another way. How many of you, by applause, have not read the books? How many of you know the story of Christmas? It's interesting that I watched the separation between. I find it quite fascinating. Is there a loyalty between? Do the people who have read the books, do you feel that you're more advanced and more a part of the world than people who have not? I mean, it's a genuine question. I wonder if you are you? I'm leaving San Diego today. Yes, Jack Sparrow.
Captain, use experience. First in line for the Pirates 5 panel, right here. Waiting outside. Anyways, this goes right into my question, more like a praise. I'd like to give a round of applause to you guys for doing, I mean, how many times have we said, the book is so much bloody better? Pretty much because we want to prove that we can read, but mostly, we say that all the time. For the first time ever, I've never heard one person say that. This show is just as brilliant. Give a round of applause to these guys. It's amazing work all done to do that.
You're a much deeper man than you are in the pirate movies, if I may say.
I am not drunk right now, so when that goes in, then I get a little short change on it. But the reason I look like this is because tonight there is a Game of Thrones costume party on a pirate ship. Wanted to invite all of you. Your names are already on the list. Everybody in the hall, you're invited too to come have a bottle of rum. Bring me rum. marksmanparty.com tonight. Hope to see you.
Thanks for that. And when you're stabbing the other two, give him a quick stab when you're down there as well. Oh, hello. Hi, what's your name?
Hi, I'm Catherine, and this question is for my beloved Sophie Turner. In the episode of Joffrey's wedding, you and Tyrion seem to start getting kind of close. and I was wondering what you think of Sansa and Tyrion's relationship now that they are separate.
I think it's devastating. He was my other half. We loved each other so much. You could feel the love. But they really did actually begin to have this genuine bond and trust with each other, and it was just getting kind of beautiful. And then, in the spirit of Game of Thrones, they cut that off. But I think, I would like in the future for them to be reunited at some point, because I think they'd be a pretty awesome power couple in the future, like the new Brangelina. But I think, it was a really lovely relationship, and she was finally beginning to trust him and love him, not in that way, but as just a person. And they were really on each other's team. And I love your outfit. You look great.
What best you would love your dress? No, I didn't ask you a question. I just said your dress was nice.
Oh, thank you.
That's right, off you go. Hello, but that's a nice outfit too.
I wanted to thank all of you for coming. You guys are my favorite characters, literally everyone who's up there. My question is for Maisie. Arya has had to change her identity to survive so many times, like Ari and Non, and now that she's finally on her own, going where she wants to go, do you feel that she's still attached to who she is as a Stark, or do you think that she's someone new entirely, or how do you play that?
She is no one.
By the way, I believe Sean Bean's in town. Anybody seen him? It's a joke, man. He's fine. Yes, sir.
Thank you so much for bringing what a wonderful world into everyone's lives. And why did you stop looking for Benjamin?
You asking kid?
Benjamin Stark here. Why did you stop looking for me?
John.
That was Kit's idea.
I don't know whether he ever will come back, but I hope he does. I love Benji. I think I just got, distracted.
Busy. I think we've got time for, maybe one more. Yes, hello, you.
This is my sexy Ingrid costume.
You look amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah. You're a little cold north of the wall wearing that though.
I figured this was Ingrid in the cave.
I seem to remember Ingrid in the cave weren't wearing much of anything at all, is that?
I just wanted to come up and say thank you for creating such an amazing show and books. It gives us a fantasy to take home that is a little bit more real. So my mom back here and I wanted to come and say thank you for everything. So.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's take one more. We can do one more. Coming up. That's a lovely question, though. Hello.
Hi. I had a question about a difference that the show took from the book. In the show, I'm not going to ruin it for anybody, don't worry. But in the show, when Jaime releases Tyrion, it's kind of a short scene, but in the book, he had an exchange with Tyrion that really changed the dynamic of the relationship. And I was wondering, what was the creative reasons behind the omission of that scene?
Well, that's going to be for you guys, I think. Although I have to, as someone, before they even answer, I think that relationship was established, that change was established in numerous scenes leading up to the point, at least that's what I felt watching it. I was like, no, I get it that it's changed. But what do you think?
You know, I think sometimes in an adaptation from a book, there are certain things you're going to lose, and one of the problems is we don't have access to the character's mind. So there's an amazing backstory for Tyrion, which we learn about basically because we're inside Tyrion's skull, and we have pages and pages where we learn exactly what happened, and it's a really powerful moment of the story. The problem is the only way for us to do it in the show would be either through dialogue or through action. We're not going to have a flashback showing that scene. We haven't had any flashbacks yet. And we didn't want to have voiceover, so unless we had a long scene with dialogue explaining what happened all those years ago, which just felt like it wasn't going to work, that was something that went by the wayside. And there are all sorts of these cuts that are incredibly difficult for us because oftentimes they're bits from the books that we love the most, and for whatever reason it just doesn't seem to work on screen when we've got 540 minutes to tell a whole season. And just, you know, this kind of goes hand in hand with the call before for extra episodes. Believe us, from a storytelling point of view, we'd love to have 13 episodes. That would be fantastic. The problem is we can't. We finished post-production and we've already started up pre-production on the next season. There's absolutely no downtime between the end of one season and the start of the next. There's just no time for us to shoot more episodes and maintain the kind of quality in terms of production value, going to all the different countries and getting those locations, having the visual effects guys create the dragons, all that stuff. So
unless we find some really good divorce lawyers.
Yeah.
That's not going to help you either. I speak from some experience. Just do what you need to do.
But I think that's, you know, and George said before, read the books. I think it's one of the things that we always hope is that people who haven't read the books but watch the show then might be drawn to the books, which we think is true for a lot of people. And then they can learn a lot more about these characters than they ever would watching the show alone, and get much more depth and time to spend with those characters and learn all about them. So unfortunately, as hard as we try, we can't possibly match the amount of detail and storytelling in a 1,200-page book over the course of the season. And I guess the last thing I would say is that when we first talked to George, when we first got the books, they were sent to us to adapt as feature films. And the idea was that each book would be one feature. So if you can imagine that Game of Thrones is a 2.5-hour movie, just think about everything that would have been mutilated and cut out of that story. And one of the reasons we really wanted to do this as a show, and luckily George agreed with us, was even though we couldn't have everything, at least we could have 10 hours for each of those books. And in the case of Storm of Swords, 20 hours. And even then, you know, we're amazed to find out how much of the detail we just can't get in there. So.
I think it was, I'm always reminded, I think it was Jim Thompson, the great crime novelist, who had a reporter ask him, how do you feel about what Hollywood has done to your books? And he pointed to his bookshelf and he said, Hollywood hasn't done anything to my books, they're right there. And the books are always going to be their own pristine world.
And I think that's an excellent point at which we have to finish the course. Books exist and will always exist, the show exists and it will always exist. Thank you so much to you guys for showing up, and to you guys as an audience member of the fan show, thank you so much for coming to San Diego.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it once again for Game of Thrones panel and all our special guests, the creative team and cast, and our special guest moderator, Mr. Craig Ferguson.